Hello,
Hello.
Hello.
welcome to. You can hear three voices here. Welcome to the third podcast of Singing the Blues podcast with me, Aaron, Kieran.
Hello.
There we go. I was wondering where he was then, and we have a very special guest. Well, special to me. We have decided to
That's
ask
why you
our
define
mate.
a special suppose.
Yeah, we've asked our mate Ben to join us with the podcast today because
Hello.
he has his fair share of football knowledge and wisdom, which he always
Well,
tell,
I wouldn't go that far, but I'll take it.
which is now he's going to betray upon us.
Hell yeah.
But sadly, he's not a City fan. Sadly not. But he knows his
Yeah,
fair stuff.
sorry. I was going to say sorry to
Not for him.
disappoint
Yeah.
Not for him anyway.
Yeah. But we'll start with the topics of conversation that we normally start with the results and fixtures coming up. But we'll talk mainly about the Champions League fixture first, because we had last week? Yeah, last week. Yeah, I'm trying to think now.
you. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, thank you.
I
It
can't
was
confirm.
last week we had the second leg of the Champions League game between City and Mönchengladbach, which was another 2-0 win. So that brought us through to the next round,
Quarter-final.
into the quarterfinal, and we have been drawn against Borussia Dortmund, which is a very interesting game for both sides.
I guess you could say it's an audition for Erling Haaland.
Audition for Erling Haaland or an audition for the City players of whether they can make it to the semi-finals. An audition for the semi-finals. We've had our first. We've all accumulatively we've all had our thoughts about this next stage in the Champions League, because it's done. The draw's been done in everyone's favour. Because now there's
Except Liverpool.
except Liverpool. Why except Liverpool? I can't remember now.
Well, mainly because Benzema, Vinicius Jr. and I think he's called Rodrigo, that other youngster. They're going to run riot on their defence.
Yeah.
I know you got Ramos, who's going to probably snap Mohamed Salah as well.
Yeah, gonna get sent off first leg.
Going to dislocate his other arm.
So it's been drawn in everyone's greatest prospect, because the greatest game of the Champions League is obviously going to be Bayern versus Paris Saint-Germain again, which guarantees only one of them could be going into the final.
If not us beating them for us to go to the final.
Yeah, so it's going to the final. First time.
I'm hoping that it's City versus Bayern Munich in the semis, and City go through, and then it's Real Madrid versus Chelsea in the semis, and Real Madrid go through. So it's City versus Real in the final.
Sadly, I don't think that'll be how that side happens. I think if it was going to be Real and Chelsea, I think depending on what Tuchel's doing with Chelsea at that point, I think Chelsea could beat Real Madrid. But it's also dependent on who's in form this season in Champions League, because we know Bayern Munich are all over the place. By all over the place, I mean all over the place as in good. Getting thrown everywhere.
All the players are all over the pitch.
Yeah. So honestly, if City go through to the semis, which I think with City getting Dortmund, there's a good chance of it happening. But the main problem would be Haaland and finding out a way of stopping him, because he only needs the pass to be able to run past everyone.
Yeah. Well, some good news on the Champions League draw. Jadon Sancho is injured. So
there's one thing down then.
Yeah, it's one of the big three down. Have they even got a three? I just know it's Sancho and Haaland.
I think Hazard had his fair share there.
Well, you've got Marco Reus as well, who's been playing well recently. You've got you got the Gio Reyna as well, who's starting to gel well into the side at the young age that he is at.
Yeah.
They've got players coming through for sure. It's just whether they can all pull together at the time because they have been unpredictable this season, Borussia Dortmund. So
and whether they pick the right team or
definitely.
But
I think what will make it worse for Dortmund as well is because of the manager at the end of the season. He's leaving, isn't he?
Oh, yeah.
So at the minute
as well,
they've not got a very stable dressing room because their manager's not going to be there at the end of the season. So I don't think he is really that bothered on how this goes, as long as they can actually play well.
He'll put in a fight because he'll want to win something before he leaves if he can try.
I think all he's focusing on at the minute is just trying to get top 4 because he knows that he won't win the Champions League.
I would say that they drew 2-2 at the weekend, didn't they? So trying their hardest not to win it.
Let's the semi-final for City would be the perfect option. Would be Bayern Munich, I think.
Yeah,
without a doubt, because even though our defense has improved massively, I've got to say
their defense is a lot weaker than PSG's.
Yeah, and PSG have Mbappe and probably either have Neymar or don't have Neymar because he'll probably get injured himself again.
No, he's back. He's 100% back.
Yeah, but he might injure himself by that point. But it's the fact of Mbappe and Neymar, and Di Maria at some points, no matter how good City's defence are, they'll burst right through. They'll just burst right through.
Well, to be honest, you got to be tactical against Mbappe, really, because he basically he relies on getting in behind, using his pace. If you set your own defensive line, quite deep, he's not going to get in behind you. He's going to have to do all of his offensive work in front of the defence, which gives you the opportunity to do your defending. And manage the area, manage your box rather than having to be on the back foot the whole time.
Yeah.
We've just got to keep a close eye on Kyle Walker, on Neymar as well.
Neymar's been playing centrally this year. They're playing a bit of because Pochettino's come in. Basically, they've been playing Mbappe and Icardi up top, usually, and then they have Neymar as like a cam basically. Because he's quite a creative player and he's got a tendency for drifting around, the strikers anyway.
Yeah.
And what they tend to do is they kind of rotate similar to what Barcelona did, back when they had, MSN. They had the other players constantly rotating, and that's how that front line's working. Obviously, Icardi's going to be more of the, the target man type of player, player that's going to be inside the box. Whereas usually Mbappe kind of does the drifting, trying to find where the space is behind the defence, whereas Neymar's going to be doing a lot of the creative work. And you'll find that that's how it's going to be. You're going to have Verratti pulling the strings probably as well in that midfield. So they've got plenty of quality in that team. It's just whether they pull together on the day.
Yeah.
Well, you see now they put it together against Barcelona, so
exactly.
Barcelona haven't had a great season at all. Yeah, they're in a great position now, but Barcelona have just fallen apart in some places. I don't think anyone knows how or where either.
Well, in the Champions League, it's not been a great season for them. They didn't start particularly well in the league either. To be honest, they've done really well this side of Christmas in 2021. They've I think I've read it before that they've won pretty near enough 12 on the bounce now.
I think it was about that, yeah. They won 6-1 against Real Sociedad the other day.
Yeah, I watched the game. They looked good because the Real Sociedad aren't that bad of a side at all. They've got an ex-City player, David Silva in the team. They're no mugs of a team, and they just tore him apart. Look, and then you had put it this way, you had Serginho Dest, the right back, scoring his first 2 goals in in Spanish football. So they must have been doing something right. And then obviously Messi was brilliant. He's also just recently broken the record for the most amount of appearances for Barcelona as well.
Yeah.
So he's moving in the right direction, especially with this the new president now being announced as being essentially one of their own, because he did manage him earlier on in the noughties, basically.
Well, it's back to it being Real Sociedad as well, with them being first place in the start. Pretty much start first couple of weeks into the season, and then obviously they've dropped points since then. It's just a surprise to see what's happened throughout the season. I guess in every league, because every league's been an interesting season.
What didn't help Real Sociedad is that they didn't get a chance to sign Odegaard permanently, because they had him on loan last season. I think that's why they've done so well. And then obviously since he's gone back to Real Madrid and then now on loan to Arsenal, they've kind of dropped off because they've not had that creative midfielder in the midfield.
Yeah. I think that'll be one player that Arteta tries to look for tries to keep hold of in the summer.
I think it'll be difficult.
They've already disclosed that they want him permanent.
Sorry, I didn't catch any of them.
Go on, Karen.
They've already disclosed that they want him on a permanent.
Or have they?
Well,
Yeah,
they've definitely gone for it, but whether it pulls through, because if he plays well this season in the Premier League, I'm pretty sure Real Madrid are going to be keeping, a fine eye on him, because they're going to be wanting to keep a player who, let's be honest, in Real Madrid's side at the moment, they don't have that creative spark at the moment. So, and especially with Odegaard having, the versatility of he can play on the left, the right, he can play through the middle. And when I say through the middle, I don't mean up front, just behind in the number 10, the cam area. So, I think it's essential for any team to have. He's definitely a talented lad, especially at such a young age. It's just, whether Arsenal can pull off that move, really.
Yeah.
My question is, do you think he'll be in another Ozil?
It's a good question. I think there was a lot of controversy with Ozil because he got involved in politics quite a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what held him back, because of his interest in the politics side of, just out in football and outside of football. So, and then he was on a lot of money as well.
Yeah, it didn't help himself the way he played as well. He started dropping off a few times and just wasn't.
And then he tried forcing a move this summer, didn't he, Ozil? And then he got his move, and he's done nothing for him.
Just injure himself.
Well, to be honest, Fenerbahce have been poor this year anyway. He joined a side that's got quite. In Turkey, they have got quite a hell of a legacy over there. They are one of the biggest sides there, but they've been suffering this season. It's a lot like, I can't remember which side it was last season, but I think it was Galatasaray who really struggled last year, and they were in the relegation zone for quite a lot of it. But then they managed to pull through at the end, so it could end up being one of those again where, it's part of a rebuild job there, and Ozil might just end up being the centre of it. But you can only wait and see, because especially with Ozil not having any game time for best part of nearly a year now, it's going to take a while to get back to match fitness. And we know the quality that he's got; he just needs to show it, really.
I think that was one of his main issues at Arsenal. He knows he knows he's a good player. He just didn't show he was a good player and good enough player to stay in the team to even be a sub.
Definitely.
That's because the managers that were there when he was playing anyway have seen other players giving better determination on the training ground, so threw him further back in the pack, and then basically said, you can start, you can go on the bench, and Ozil, you're in the reserves because you're not showing the determination to be in the squad.
Yeah, it's like just off any other clubs now. It's just like any manager I think this goes for our managers now. I think any manager says, if you're not showing it at all, there's no point you being here. there's no point even putting you on the subs unless they're small enough to just have that player there, like Sheffield or Fulham or anything like that. If the player's not showing it in the training at all, or just doesn't show up at all, they just won't use them.
Yeah.
Just trying to have a look now. What have you got written down there, Ben?
Next one I've got is, well, first game is my first one that I've got.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about yours, because obviously you're not a City fan, but you're a Bolton fan, but you're also just football fan in general.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yes.
So me and Kieran spoke about ours last week. So I just want to know about your first game and just experience through it. And
well, mine was a fair few years ago. Mine was nearly when you fellas before, well, probably before some of you were even born, to be honest. Basically, I've done 3 scenarios for my first game, what I've got written down. So my first Bolton game was, I can't remember the exact game. I just remember the opposition was in a yellow kit. And it was in 2002, 2003. I can't remember anything to do with it. That's all. I just remember being there because I was only like little at the time. I was about 4 or 5. So obviously,
I wasn't even born.
I was going to say.
So Kieran's out of the question then.
But my first Bolton versus Man City game was 2007, 13th of January, and game was 0-0. So obviously an entertaining game. And then
you're looking at it now. Go on.
And then my first game at the Etihad, because I've been there once to watch a City game, was in 2012 against Real Madrid, which would finish 1-1.
Was that Champions League?
It was, yeah.
Was that a group stage game?
Yes, it was. Actually, no, it wasn't. I don't think.
One where we kicked him out. Didn't we kick him out that season as well?
No.
All I remember from that was it was the first leg in that game, and it was Benzema scored in the 10th minute, and I think Aguero scored a penalty in around the 75th minute. I could be completely well off there, but I remember Aguero and Benzema being being the goal scorers, and Arbeloa got sent off as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been to a fair few games though.
Yeah. Well, I had a season ticket for City since I was 7, maybe 8. Can't remember exact time.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been to a fair few, but I never actually never got to go to the cups or the Champions League games or anything like that because it was midweek and it was just school.
Yeah.
And now it's work and
life. We've all got lives now.
Life as well. I think this season as well. Well, this season and the second half of last season has been a massive. I don't know what to call it. A massive nosedive in funds for clubs and like just team morale. I think with there not being any fans to share anything with.
Did you see the West Ham Arsenal match at the weekend?
Oh, that was crazy!
Yeah,
I watched like towards the end of the second half.
Honestly,
and I seen 3-1.
You wouldn't have thought that didn't have fans in because that was like a game where it was just a high intensity the whole game. Both teams going at each other the full 90 minutes.
No slowing down.
Yeah, just without slowing down. It seemed like they had fans in, with, how they're doing. So that obviously, I must take a bit of mental strength, from the players there. So fair play to them. But obviously, different teams have reacted differently to having no fans, and some have taken a long time to adjust. For sure.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, I feel like Arsenal got very lucky in that match.
Oh, yeah, definitely. They should have been finished off in the first half.
I feel like Arsenal's been very lucky this season, to be honest, because I think at the start of the season, Arteta could have been sacked.
I feel like they were that lucky in that game because they got 2 own goals.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
they? Yeah. So they got 2 own goals, and then Lacazette scored pretty much a last-minute winner. Well, equaliser. So
Take away the own goals, that could have been 3-1.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
I think it was just poor positioning, bad positioning at the bad time there for West Ham. So going back to the Bolton City game.
Yes.
You said that was 2002-03, didn't you?
No,
or something?
No, my first Bolton City game was 2007.
2007. I got mixed up with the days then. That was the first Bolton game you remember, wasn't it?
Yes.
Looking at that now,
yeah,
that scoreline would not happen nowadays.
Oh, probably not. Like,
I'm not throwing shade out there at Bolton or anything.
Let's be honest. Like, obviously we're in League Two, and there is a reason for that. You know, I'm not going to go too much into detail because it's been it's been well publicised. You know.
Yeah, I don't think fans even know anymore what's going on as well.
Well, no, we do. Like, it's all right now. Everything's been sorted now. You know, we're in a good place now. You know, we have now got the best unbeaten streak now in the UK. So, you know, we're not exactly in a bad place anymore. You know, we're playing good football. To be honest, our football is heavily influenced by, Pep. You know, like it's very, it's flowing football. You know, it's pass and move. Keep it, pressuring the opposition as well once they do have the ball to try and get it back as quick as possible. So, it's really good. It's really good to watch now. Now we're moving in the right direction. Because we've gone from within the space of nearly 2 months, we've gone from being, I think, 19th in the table to now fifth within 5 points of the top of the league.
Yeah, I've been keeping a close eye on Bolton, like not watching games because we can't do that. But like I've been keeping an eye on results and everything just because of you mainly.
Yeah.
And I actually had it written down for us to talk about Bolton because then it's not leaving you out of the question or anything.
But I don't mind. I can talk about City. I can talk about football. You know me. I can talk about pretty much anything to do with football. So.
Yeah, so I've actually got that down here that it's just a surprising turnaround based on everything that's gone on in the past 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. We've obviously it's the final aspect of it has been a big player in it because we were like, say for example, when Nicholas Anelka was at Bolton back in I think 2007. He was earning over £100,000 a week, which is for a small club like Bolton, which is ridiculous, especially at the time it was as well. And then basically now, obviously that's had major effects because we were in Europe, but then the minute we didn't get Europe, we just started slowly falling down. And then the season we got relegated from the Premier League, we hit the hardest amount of luck known to man. We had the Fabrice Muamba incident, which happened. I think it was 9 years ago last week. I think, which is unreal. And then you had Stuart Holden, who was on the verge of signing for one of Europe's big, a number of Europe's biggest clubs for about 25 million, which again would have been huge for Bolton. That sort of fee. So something around that. Anyway, there was bids coming in of that sort of figure, and then Johnny Evans pretty much. He did end his career near enough with a challenge, and then we had a freak accident in the training ground where one of our best winger broke his leg. It's just everything that could have gone wrong that season did go wrong, and we ended up going down. And that was coincidentally when City won the league, for the first time. So it was good for you guys. It was absolutely horrendous for me. It was also started a downfall for us. But even like the start of this season, the reason we were in 19th place was purely down to recruitment. It's nothing against like the players that were brought in, but for what we needed at the time, we needed to be bringing in higher level players who've experienced in that division. And the director of football that we had in at the time he was used to. Well, he was Macclesfield, and so more non-league side, and he was bringing in non-league players who've not played proper professional football, especially in League Two and League One and above, and we're basically struggled and we're losing games with stupid mistakes because they're just not used to that, the pressure going on. And if you think about it, regardless of whether fans are there or not, but when they come back and they're looking at social media, which is, a big thing these days, they're looking at it getting slated by the Bolton fans. And there's a lot of Bolton fans, considering there's about 13,000 maybe at the moment.
I saw one on the way home from work.
Say that again, sorry.
I saw one on the way home from work.
They are about. It's not like they've just disappeared off face of the earth. They are still here. And basically,
I think they're just hiding.
Honestly, and they've and to be fair, like this director of football got removed. He's left. We've basically promoted our manager to actual manager now rather than just head coach. So he was now bringing in the signings. So we brought in signings from Championship level. We brought in a lad on loan from West Ham, and who's done really well. We've brought in, genuine experience of divisions from the above, and they've come in, gelled in really well, and hence why we are in the form that we are in right now. And it's just good to see that we've turned the corner now. And fair play to the owners because they seem to do care. They've pretty much turned this club around now. So, I'm heavily grateful for the job they've done, and I'm happy to see that we've still got a club. Because that nearly happened a couple of years ago as well. So
same time as Berry.
Yeah, so it's a shame about Berry, but I'm sure they'll be back because they've got the fan base, and I'm pretty sure that if they get a good ownership behind them, they'll be fine. And I'm hoping they do get back because they didn't deserve what happened that day. And to be honest, neither did we, or neither do any club that goes into administration or liquidation. They don't deserve it because that's the whole point of the system is that you're supposed to check, whether these owners are actually good enough. Like, say for example, like Wigan. And I know I'm completely going off on a tangent here, but
no, we're like tangents.
Fine.
But basically, like with Wigan, what happened was they had an owner come in, saying that he's he's part of his business in China, he's saying he's a billionaire, part of this multi-billion, company, and then it turned out he only owned 5% of it, and it was only had a few $100,000 under his belt, which is not enough for a team at the time that was in the Championship. So and that was it. They went into administration, and technically they still are in administration. They don't actually have an owner yet. So, it's it's a shame for these clubs, but it's just good to see that. So, to find teams just finding a way to turn it around, turn things into a positive and actually move forward. Because what the fans deserve at the end of the day.
It's like want Wigan the team that got that little kid who had the little kid that was raising money just to save his boyhood team. Want that Wigan?
Quite possibly. I don't know. I've not looked that far into it. I just know that there's a lot of people helping out, and you'll find that, especially in tough situations like this. You'll find people, supporting one another, fans. You know what I mean, and it's good to see. Really, it is genuinely good to see.
Just disappointing that no other big teams actually look into.
But
I don't think big teams look into other people's business more than their own.
Not much we can do about that, unfortunately. But it is what it is. What it is. I'm just happy that I still have a club, but I still love watching Bolton, regardless how much they really, they stress me out. I've lost a few hairs, put it that way, just from watching Bolton. But
I thought you got to go
right. I've got my hairline's gone back a bit, so it's looking a bit more like the McDonald's sign every single day now. So
but you're loving it.
I definitely, mate, 100%. I get your reference. Don't worry. I'm not I won't let you lose that one, mate.
Oh, you know what we do. Have you got anything to add, Kieran, before we move on to what I think would be the best topic?
Not really, no, because I don't really focus on like the lower leagues, like administration type clubs and stuff like that.
No.
So,
I think the Premier League are just lucky that they've getting the money just from being in the Prem each season.
There's a lot of money within the Premier League, especially getting promoted into it. That's why so many people, jump at the opportunity for it. The thing with it as well, we've been in the Championship, you got, as an owner, you've got two options really. You've got, either splash the cash and hope that you get promoted to get that money back, or you spend the cash and then you pretty much run yourself into the ground because you've risked it and it's gone straight out the window. But that's a different matter for a different day. But it does happen, and I can probably name a few clubs that have done that. QPR. So so we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I'm trying not to offend people with what I'm saying, so we'll just move on to your next subject, Alan.
Yeah. Well, I think I've got the next topic that makes the football world go round, and it's transfers.
I was going to say, how can we not go into transfers half an hour into a podcast?
Yeah, I know we've actually gone way later into the podcast than we want, but as City fans, we've obviously noticed the new transfer news, although it's been going around for a couple of since about summer, but it's been actually announced this time about the potential signing of Danny Ings.
Not to be rude to Southampton or anything, but yeah, he's good enough to play for that type of team. I don't think he'll fit into our system though.
I don't think he's good enough to play for us. No, I think it's just a fact of just in case. This is who we're looking at.
It probably will be a case of if we don't sign Haaland, we've got Danny Ings to fall back on as a realistic signing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, to be honest, I don't think Danny Ings is probably the best person for you as a team anyway. Like, I do think that you need to be going for someone younger, because if Aguero does leave at the end of the season, like, yes, you do have Jesus, but do you think he's going to be our out-and-out striker every week? Do you think he's going to be the one that scores goals?
He's not showing anything.
Do you want me on my honest opinion?
Go on.
I think he's going to be... I think Pep is going to take a risk and sell them both, Aguero and Jesus. Sign two new strikers, Haaland being the main one, and bringing up the lap.
I think it'd be since this news has come out about Danny Ings, I think you're about right there, Kieran. But since the news has come out about Danny Ings, I think it is the fact of this is Jesus' season. This has been Jesus' season now to show that he is the predecessor to Aguero, but we have not seen that as a player for him, or as fans. We've not seen him be that predecessor yet. So I think it is the fact of Aguero's either going to be leaving on the free or getting sold, and then Jesus is going to just follow, and it could be Haaland coming in, and then I think the Ings interest is for we're going to try and get Haaland, so we'll just get Ings as a second choice anyway, and then
I really like the look of Patson Daka from RB Salzburg.
I'm not seeing him. I'm not seeing anything.
I've not properly looked at his stats, but I've seen a couple of clips of him, and I tell you what, he's rapid.
I think that's what we need, just to keep up. We need fast players to keep up with the likes of De Bruyne's passes, the run of Sterling, the skill moves of Riyad Mahrez. But I've not seen anything of that kid yet. I've not heard of him either, to be honest. I think you're just making up a player here, Kieran.
He plays in the Austrian League.
Yeah. Have you got any thoughts
on Danny Ings?
Danny Ings or Haaland or the fact.
So, personally, in the ideal world, you'd go for Haaland, really, because the guy can score. He speaks very good English, so he will fit into the English culture. He was brought up as as a City fan, really. Well, to a point anyway, and then he's obviously he's got connections there with his dad, and he's in the ideal world you bring in Haaland, but in the other hand,
United.
Well, to be honest, I can't see him going United because the rumours are that he won't go because Roy Keane did end his dad's career. So whether that happens, I don't know. I personally, the ideal world for him would be for City because he's got the chance to become a legend. He's still young. And he can be at City for years. Especially if you can take them to the next level, which is consistent. Pushing for the Champions League. Consistently pushing for the Premier League. So in the ideal world, Haaland's is that. But for the Danny Ings, he's a very good player, and he definitely does deserve a chance. At a top team, like he was at Liverpool, but his injuries ruined that. But he does have, again, that's also an issue. He has got a bad track record of having injuries. So he's don't get me wrong, absolutely quality player. He can score goals, and he definitely deserves a chance at a top club. But for you guys, he can't be your main striker. He'd have to be your backup. Like Jesus has been to Aguero over the past few years. That's the type of player you'll end up being. And to be honest, that's probably not best for him because he probably deserves better than that because he is good enough to lead us, front line. So I personally can't see the Danny Ings one happening, but you never know. Football's football, and it's always there to surprise you. So
yeah,
I would love to see. I'd love to see Liam Delap in the Prem though, because at the minute in Premier League 2 with the under 18, under 23s or whatever, he's played 14 games. He scored 20 goals. He's also got 4 assists, and he's the leading scorer by I think about 7 goals.
Yeah.
So to see him in the City side, at least on the bench, will be good for him, and it'll boost his confidence more. So if he does go back down to the under 23s, he can bag more goals.
Yeah, I've just got quick news. Kevin De Bruyne has scored for Belgium.
Seen that a minute ago, yeah.
22 minutes in. Let's just add that in because it just randomly popped up as a notification. So well done to De Bruyne. I was going to have that game on as well, but we're doing podcasts, so yeah. Literally just a couple of hours ago, there was a news story that came out on the football app that both me and Kieran have, saying Man City are still tracking Dani Zakaria, even after they lost 4-0 on aggregate.
If I'm being honest, the person I seen the most on that pitch when we played Mönchengladbach for them was Zakaria. So if we do go in for him, we've got to make sure we keep a good eye on him because he could potentially take Rodri's spot if he's not careful.
Yeah, I don't think Rodri is suited City's games as well as everyone would hope. He is a good signing to have for us, but he's not suited us.
I'll be honest, he's bossed it this season.
Yeah, he has. I agree with this season, but he's just
last season he needed to gel.
No, so he's just going to get better and better. But Dennis Zakaria, I think, would be even at that point. If we get him, we can do two CDMs, Rodri and Zakaria.
Yeah.
Then you've got the extra youngster to replace Gundogan and Fernandinho if one or the other retires first.
I seen some news the other day on Grealish and the fact that we're leading the race for him now, as United won't have to. Well, I don't know if it's because they have the funds or what, but apparently we're favourites for signing Jack Grealish.
See, that's another one, though. You just mentioned about United having the funds. If they actually look at Haaland, I don't think they're going to afford it.
Yeah.
unless they get rid of certain players. But Grealish, again, we've said it, I think, pretty much with Grealish. I think we spoke about every week on the podcast. No point.
He's a class player.
Yeah, he is a class player, but there's no point, literally.
It'd be good for the bench.
Yeah.
But I don't know where we could start him.
We can't drop anyone, really. Sterling we may be able to drop a few times. But, yeah. Sterling we might be able to drop a few times for him, but other than that, there's not going to be consistency for him if we just keep playing him on and off. Have you got any transfer news up, Ben?
Not as such. Basically, I'm just kind of bouncing off what you guys have said about Zakaria and Grealish. For me, I can't see if Grealish is going to end up being a bench player at City. I can't see him moving there for that. For that reason. Considering he is the main driving force within that Aston Villa side, I think he'll be wanting guaranteed football week in, week out at least. So I can't. I think that'll be the thing that would hold you back on that. And then personally, like for me, Zakaria is a top player. Well, obviously he's not world class. I'm not going to try and make out that he is. He's just a very good player, and to be honest, he does offer something different from Rodri, because he's kind of in the ilk of Yaya Toure. He's big, he's strong, he's quick. He's not going to be anything as close to scoring the amount of goals as what Yaya Toure did, but he's that similar build. He's someone who can, he'll bulldoze past a few plays, he'll put that tackle in, and he does offer something different from Rodri. So it would be a good signing, and he's still got age on his side as well. So I can't see why I can't see that being a bad move in any way whatsoever, unless it did sign and he turned out to be a bad one. But looking at it from, this side looking into the future, I can't see, he's a good signing for me, I'd say.
Yeah.
There's also one more transfer that I'd like to touch on.
What's that?
That's Nuno Mendes, Sporting left back, 18-year-old.
Again,
to be honest, I've not seen much into him. Like, I've heard his name thrown about a few times, but in all honesty, what's the worst that could happen with bringing in a young left back? He's, especially if he could actually potentially come into the first team picture. How old did he say he was? 18. Yeah, he's got time to develop at that age. If Pep's staying for a long period of time, he can learn how the play style. Especially with being in Portuguese football, that it's not the same football as what Pep plays, especially at Sporting Lisbon. But it's very similar, and there's no reason why he can't slot into that left back, because at the moment you spend a lot of time relying on possibly João Cancelo sometimes playing on that left hand side. When in hindsight, he's actually a better right back on that right hand side, especially this season, because he's been very good on that right hand side when he has played there. So I think just to give him that opportunity to thrive in that right hand side, there's no reason why he can't slot a young left back in to learn his trade. And Mendes. So again, it's not. There's worse signings to make. Put it that way. That's all I'm going to say on that one. Anyway.
Yeah. Harry Maguire.
Let's not talk about that one, shall we?
Let's not throw shade, shall we? Although he did score a bicycle kick against me, didn't he? So
On FIFA.
Yeah. In recent news of transfer news, Ronaldo.
Ooh.
Real Madrid or United? I don't think he'll be at the rate that he was at either.
Go back to Sporting.
Go back to Sporting, where he doesn't have to bother any of us.
To be perfectly honest, he'll carry on, but there's no guarantee that he's actually going to leave Juventus. You know what I mean? There's a lot of press going on about it, but he's going to take a good 80 million maybe to get to lure him away from there. Now, obviously, his wages will be absolutely extortionate over there. So again, that's going to be a factor. But to be honest, I can't see. He's already said that he won't go back to United. He said it like he's had a legacy there, and he wants to leave that untouched just in case he comes back and he ruins that. Which again, it's a fair enough reason. Same with Vilka as well, going back there for that reason. To be honest, he'll either stay at Juve or he'll go somewhere like completely rogue, and he'll just go somewhere like America or something, which I can't see happening personally. But I think Juventus.
To be honest,
to be honest, like Juve is probably the most likely. From today, Juve is probably for me the most likely place for him to be at. When that season starts. In my head, nothing would be greater than seeing Ronaldo in a Barcelona shirt and playing alongside Lionel Messi. But we all know that's not going to happen. So
they would never play with each other just for the fact of the feud between them both.
They don't. There's no feud between them. They just push each other. And that it was the same as MSN. They were all mates, and they all just pushed each other to be the best, and that it'll be the exact same thing. But again, it won't happen because there'll be so much controversy in that move. It'll be unreal. But a man can dream because it'd be brilliant to see them play alongside each other in a side.
Just make Ronaldo put Argentinian now. Ronaldo, you're Argentinian. I don't know if there's anything else we should touch on. Ben, what have you got?
I just want to touch on Thingy's price, Nuno Mendes' price.
Go on.
Because his release clause that they've set for him is €70 million.
It's a lot of money,
the kid's only played 20
games. It's a risk as well.
That's what I mean.
You want to be trying to get because it's like that typical FIFA career mode thing. That Aaron's a bit of an expert on this, but you have your career on career mode on FIFA. They'll always say to you, "Oh, are you sure you don't want to use a release clause?" And you're like, "Is it this guy's 17 million for a kid? You know what I mean? He's only played 20 games in his whole career.
And I got him for
exactly. Stuff like this. You could probably get the kid for about 20 million, which is probably. Yeah, well, it's not probably. It's definitely a lot cheaper than 70. Put it that way. So,
and still, honestly, would still be overpriced for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, to be honest, if he is as good as what they're making him out to be, then 20 million is probably about right. But because obviously because with age, they always bump the price up anyway. So. It's all very much depending on how things go, I suppose. Go for it.
I've got one more transfer rumour.
Go on.
Timothy Harwood-Bellis. Taylor Harwood.
Where's he going on loan to?
He's on loan at Blackburn at the minute.
Yeah, but there's other clubs looking at him, like top Bundesliga sides and also other championship sides, as well as possibly Brentford, who are going to possibly be promoted next season.
Oh, look, another Angelino.
Well, I was going to say, to be honest, in my opinion, I'd be trying to loan him into a Premier League side next year, just to try and give him that exposure, to the Premier League environment, because he's only played one or two maybe Premier League games, if all that. And it's not enough for an exposure. And if he's going to be able to play at the top level, then he's going to need that exposure. And obviously, championships is a good stepping stone. That's why there's so many young players that do go on loan there. But if you want guaranteed first game football, then obviously go to the Bundesliga, because you can see the success stories that are over there. You've got the likes of Jadon Sancho over there. You've got Damari Graves now going over there playing well. You've
you had Werner.
Yeah, exactly. You've got these players, who are all doing well since they've gone over there. So, you can do that, and it's definitely an option. But you want to be trying to loan him into Premier League so he can at least try and slot into your side. Maybe not next season, but maybe the season after. And then at least you've got someone there as backup for the for your main three, because you don't know what injuries are going to be like at the end of the day. So it's good to always have that that option, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know. I've not got anything to touch on at this moment in time. Well, I've got a few things, but let's jump to see if Ben's got anything.
No, I'm just looking at your long list, but I'll leave all that for future episodes, I think.
Yeah, let's just go on to one last thing, because I think at this moment in time it's pretty good to start it here, because it's going to be happening soon. England in the Euros. Well, just England.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was the one I was keeping a keen eye on on the list.
Yeah. I'm just saying now, because the Euros is going to be happening sooner than we think, and I think England is something to just continuously talk about throughout the podcast now.
Do you want to go through potential squad?
What I want to know is what are you guys' thoughts?
Yeah. Because there's some interesting names in there, I think. Sam Johnston being one of them.
The current England squad now on the screen, and then we'll go through it and say what the the potential is for them to actually make it into the official Euro squad. So that's propaganda. Right, so your goalkeepers at the moment are Nick Pope, Dean Henderson, and Sam Johnston.
Yeah. For me, Dean Henderson has to be the main keeper there.
I think Nick Pope's got a strong claim to that because of the amount of clean sheets he does actually keep for Burnley, and you got to think that Dean Henderson, as good as a goalkeeper he is, he doesn't actually get that much game time with United, because it's usually De Gea as the first team goalkeeper, whereas Nick Pope plays all the games for Burnley, and Burnley do, and he has a lot of shots taken at him, so he saves a lot of them as well. So he's a big he's a big goalkeeper, so he's going to be one that will be claiming them corners that will be coming in anyway. So he's definitely in this, for me. Them two have got to be in the squad. I think to be honest, as much as I like Sam Johnston, for me, Pickford will be in there because he's a favourite.
He's only there because Pickford's not there.
Yeah.
I feel like he's only there because Pickford's injured.
Agreed. I agree with what you mean by Pope, because I think he has played in England before, hasn't he? As well, he's played in the team. Defenders, shocking return for Stones and Luke Shaw as well.
A shocking missing out of Trent Alexander-Arnold as well.
Wan-Bissaka as well.
No. I can just go through the defenders. So you've got Tyrone Mings, Eric Dyer. You've got Kyle Walker, Bukayo Saka, Harry Maguire, Reece James, Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw, John Stones, and Kieran Trippier.
I honestly don't see any issues in them defenders. I think he's got picked good there. It's just missing the Trent and
who you take out for that, though?
Honestly, I don't think Saka's ready for England just yet.
To be honest, I'd be inclined to agree. I think, to be honest, you could be looking at Saka as potentially a winger option, because that's where he's playing for, for Arsenal. Like for me, in the ideal scenario in my head, you want 2 right backs, you want 2 left backs, and an abundance of centre backs. Just in case you decide to go from 2 to 3 centre backs. And for me, if you're looking at players of the quality, this is not dependent on form at the moment. Like your best 2 right backs for England at the moment is Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka. Personally, that's not me saying that Walker and Trippier aren't good players, because they are good. But for me, they're your top two right backs at the moment, and your left backs is at the moment Chilwell and Luke Shaw. At the moment,
Luke Shaw. I'd obviously pick Luke Shaw over Chilwell because he's changed United.
To be honest, I think even Chilwell might have even struggled if James Justin was fit, but obviously he's out now with an ACL injury for the future. So it's a shame for him. But then if you look at, and to be honest, you've got Reece James there as well, who's another one who could end up coming out because let's be honest, you don't need 4 right backs in a team. Like, you know what I mean?
No.
I feel like the reason why he's put Kyle Walker and Kieran Trippier in and not putting Trent or Wan-Bissaka is because the fact that Kyle Walker and Trippier both have experience in the England squad.
I think if you're going to bring one of them, any of them, you bring one of them rather than both, because it's like, yes, they're both versatile, but I think you've got more than enough options, in that defensive region now, especially as centre back, to be able to, bring, like, obviously Harry Maguire is going to be in that side regardless. John Stones, if he keeps in the form that he is, he's in, he's going to be on that plane.
Yeah.
Eric Dyer is probably going to be on that plane because of his versatility and his experience within the England squad. As much as a bad season he has had, I think he's going to be on he'll be on that plane because I know Southgate rates him highly, so he'll be on that plane. And the players that can come and go in that in this side, it's just it's going to be difficult. I think you need to be looking at this closer towards when the teams are going to be picked, and then look at the form of the players from there. I think maybe.
Yeah. Well, we've got friendlies at the minute, haven't we?
Yeah,
we've got international duty
it's actually World Cup qualifying. We've got
it's San Marino, isn't it?
San Marino, yeah. Didn't we smack them last time as well?
No disrespect to San Marino, but their best player is a semi-pro footballer. All the rest are amateurs. I don't think there's actually one professional player in their team. Oh, there might be one.
I think there is one now. Mariano.
No, he's not from San Marino. He's from Dominican Republic or something.
I don't think Southgate's done a bad choice in the England squad.
I'm a bit surprised with Jude Bellingham being there, to be honest. And I'm very surprised at Calvin Phillips being in there, considering he's been injured for the past 2 months and he's only played 2 games, since before just before he picked a squad.
Since he was there, yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure they lost both them games as well.
No, they just won recently, I think. But for me, I think I do like Calvin Phillips personally. I just think if you're picking on players on form, you don't pick someone who's been injured for the past 2 months. Do you know what I mean? And then Jude Bellingham's been very hot and cold in the Bundesliga. Like, when he's played well, he's been outstanding. But when he's been bad, he's been completely he's not been that all there. Whereas, like, if you look at the likes of Declan Rice playing well for West Ham now, he's a crucial cog within that machine at West Ham. Same with Mason Mount with Chelsea at the moment. He's everything to do with that Chelsea side at the moment. James Ward-Prowse. The reason why he's in there, he's not going to be the best midfielder in that midfield, but his set pieces his set pieces are ridiculous, and which again puts him in the contention. You've got Jesse Lingard there, who's playing really well recently, really, really well.
Yeah.
To be honest,
yeah, definitely.
Congratulations.
To be honest, it's going to be that typical question now. Is when it comes to picking the squad, Maddison's going to be back into the fold, and so is Jack Grealish. Who out of them 4, who do you bring, or do you bring all 4 of them because they are all versatile players, especially like Grealish and Foden. They are very versatile players, because I'm looking at on the England FA website at the moment, and they've got Phil Foden as a forward.
He should be a forward. He's a left winger at the minute.
So you got to be honest, looking at the forwards now, you've got Harry Kane. Obviously, he's got to be in the side.
He'll
you've
be
got
starting.
Rashford, again, solid player. Sterling, solid. Phil Foden, obviously, in the form of his life at the moment. And then you've got Calvert-Lewin, who's had a very good season. He's not been scoring as many as he was at the start of the season. But he's...
Yeah, definitely.
And it does offer something different from Harry Kane, because Harry Kane, his game style has changed this season. He's spending a lot more time as maybe like a centre forward. He's dropping back a bit deeper. He's helping out with the midfield. Whereas Calvert-Lewin, he's got a bit more pace than Kane. He's similar sort of build. He's strong, he's tall, he will win them headers kind of thing. So it offers that something different. But then you've got Ollie Watkins in there, who, don't get me wrong, deserves a call up because he's been brilliant this season for Aston Villa, and he's got genuine raw pace, which is a very good option to probably have on the bench if he ends up making it on the plane. But again, there's a lot of options for England at the moment, which can only mean a good thing, because you've got Jadon Sancho, who've not even mentioned, who's side pulling up a few trees in the Bundesliga recently until he got injured. So I'll let you guys talk, because I've done enough talking.
Yeah, it's just one. It's we've got all them players in as well, though. It's just the fact of who do we actually pick and who do we actually play, because you can't, honestly, through that squad, I can't think of one player you would drop.
That's why we're not the England manager, mate.
Yeah, I know. I point out the obvious there, but you know what I mean. Like, we could probably still do some damage with all different players with a different squad each week.
I agree.
I think the reason why he has picked Saka as a defender so he can get an extra attacker.
Again, wouldn't disagree with that, as it, and he does offer that versatility. Saka, he can play left back, he can play centre midfield, he can play left and right mid. He's a very versatile player, and to be honest, on that plane, you're going to need players who can play in many positions. That's why he's looking at possibly bringing Reece James, because he can play. Because he's been playing more of a right mid role for Chelsea recently. So he does offer that, but then so does Alexander-Arnold. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up on that plane. But I think form's going to be the big thing. Whoever's playing well towards this back end of the season is going to be on that plane, in my opinion.
I tell you what, we could do with the likes of De Bruyne actually staying as an England person, because his mum's English, and the fact that Haaland was born in England, so he could have played for England. And same with Zaha. All those three players together could absolutely change a nationality, like a nation team.
The squad could have been completely different.
Well, we could have said that about Jamie Vardy as well before he retired. Retired. And I'm not going to go into the reasons for that, but it would be a fantastic option to have, to have in this England side. But unfortunately, we won't be able to get him out in after retirement now,
because he's absolutely
no. He might do what Wayne Rooney did and play that one game before he actually retires from Leicester, but I don't think we're going to get the likes of Vardy
there's no way
anymore.
we're going to get him in the England side, just because, like I said, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but just because of his treatment when he was at the World Cup last time round, he's not going to play for England again, which is a shame, because he is a quality player who scores goals. But it's one of those. We've definitely got options up front, 100%, and we've got a lot of good youngsters coming through, so it is looking promising from an England point of view. So we can only wait and see and hope.
Going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one either way.
Speaking of national teams, the keeper that we've got on loan, Muric.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shown up to the hotel massively drunk.
Oh, no.
I think it was last night or the night before, so he's been booted from the squad.
Oh, no.
You're naughty,
Well,
you're cheating me.
They're all human.
He's young.
They're all human.
He is young as
That's
well.
all I can say to that.
Yeah.
Let him enjoy himself.
Yeah.
You've got all human. You've got an
Sorry,
alcoholic at 21.
Who are you talking about?
You can't, can't
no
be me,
idea.
'cause I'm nowhere near 21 now, so I'm long gone. I'm Clay.
I've not had a swig since God knows when. I think honestly, leaving that, I think we've left that on a good high. Then I think it's just like I think that's everything we can cover for today, because otherwise we're not going to have anything to leave for next week.
Yeah.
So I think that's been a good turnout of conversation for an hour, just over an hour. Thank you, Ben, for joining us. If there's anything else you want to add, just
just thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you fellas.
No problem.
No problem.
Hope to have you on again some other time.
Yeah, just drop me a message.
Anyway.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe end of the season we'll have you on. Actually, I think end of the season we'll have a few people on. Me and Kieran, and then you, and then a few other people, and just chat about overall a season.
Oh God,
I'd love to get Reese on it.
Controversial. What?
Yeah, let's talk about your season there, Reese.
If you set that man off, he'll be talking. He'll talk more than I will, and that's saying something.
We'll just leave him on for an hour, and then we'll do an hour of ourselves later.
Works for me, mate. Works for
me. But yeah, I think we'll have a lot of people on near the end of the season. I think that'll be good to talk about an overall good season, and then just before the Euros kick off and all that. But again, thank you, Ben, for joining us. Hope it's been
fabulous, mate. Fabulous.
Thank you, Ben. Not Ben, Kieran. I'll just thank you,
no
Ben.
problem.
And it's been a pleasure speaking to you all about our thoughts and everything about football again. And we'll talk more about probably the same stuff next week. Thank you, and keep singing the blues. Bye.
Adios.
Singing the blues.